I want to welcome you guys back to another episode of Pistons Talk podcast presented by FanDuel. In today's episode, what we'll be discussing is the Pistons versus Cavs summer league game that just ended about 2 hours or so ago. I want to get into the quarter notes, the team stats, and the box score. So let's get into the quarter notes first. What you guys need to know: Chaz Lanier, holy crap, man! Absolute flamethrower from three. Could not miss. Had 17 points in 7 minutes, you guys. And just for context, Chaz had 12 points in the first summer league game against the Philadelphia 76ers. He had 17 in the first quarter alone. And the Pistons were able to go on a 14-1 run to get out to a early lead. And they were able to maintain the lead throughout this first quarter. But once the bench unit came in, they only scored 4 points with the Buko, Corey, and Chaz Lanier just sitting there getting a breather. But you got a 29 to 21 lead after the first, and 17 of those 29 points belonged to Chaz Lanier. So Chaz definitely was looking to be more aggressive, and his shot was falling. And that's the one thing that I think a lot of us want to see is, Chaz being more of a go-to scorer in these summer league games. To start the second quarter, you still had the second unit out there, but they decided to throw Isaac Jones out there with the bench unit, and that really didn't work either. This unit was just having such a hard time of just putting points on the board until you had Abuka, Corey, and Chaz Lanier and Bryce Williams back into the game. And the 3-point shooting got their lead a little bit padded. They were able to have a 10-point lead going into halftime, 59-49. Coming out of halftime, it was let's interview John Calipari, not show the game half the time. And Cleveland's defense, forcing more turnovers. The Calipari stuff, like I don't mind, but like I don't want to see him on my screen for like half of the third quarter. I think it's really annoying that Prime and all these other broadcast companies do that. Like, want to interview a guy, still interview him, but we don't really care to like see like a split screen. It's just like something that I get annoyed with. It's really distracting. But Cleveland forced more turnovers. Pistons had over 20 turnovers in this game. And they fell in love with the three very early on in this third when, they weren't falling as much as they were in the first and second quarter. But Abuko was able to, still impact the game, even though he had a really bad shooting night. He was trying to drive to the basket, getting layups. Those were either getting blocked by Cleveland's bigs in their wings, or he was just taking really difficult shots that were hitting the backboard or not even hitting rim. But he still had 7 steals in this one, still had 6 assists. But the Pistons were able to hold on to their lead, even though they didn't have the strongest third quarter, 73-70. And also, one of the Cavs players tried to fight in a summer league game. I was like, okay, man, if you're trying to square up in a summer league game, you're the ultimate crash out, in my opinion. Like, I don't even know why you're trying to fight, but it is what it is, I guess. To start the fourth quarter, Cleveland's defense was still forcing turnovers, whether it was passing lanes, half court traps, full court press. They were really trying to get into this game, and Malik Thomas was a really big reason. He had a phenomenal night for the Cavs, dropped over 30 points. But Cleveland was able to get a lead after tying the game. And it was a 1-point lead, 81-80. Pistons call a timeout. They go on a lead of their own, 7-0 run. And then Chaz Lanier and Bryce Williams really closed this game out for the Pistons with their perimeter shooting. And they were able to win this one. 103-94 was the final score for the Detroit Pistons over the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that is their first summer league victory. They are now 1-1. They have 2 games remaining on the schedule. I know there's going to be someone asking, like, can the Pistons still make the summer league playoffs? I don't want to count them out, but the way they kind of track seedings in the summer league is point differential. The first game you lost to Philly. This game you do win the game by a couple of points. It does kind of help your point differential, but you're gonna probably have to win your next 2 games at least by 20 to 25 to even have like a mathematic chance to make the summer league playoffs, because they track it by not only how many games you win, but how big has your point differential been in these summer league playoffs. So I know there's going to be someone asking about that, but let's get into the box score. and we'll put it on the screen for you guys. So with the box score with the Pistons, oh, did not mean to do that. With the box score with the Pistons, Bryce Williams played 26 minutes, started 6 out of 9 from the field, 6 out of 9 from three, made all three of his free throws, excuse me, had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 21 points in this one for the Pistons, was a very big part of the victory. I will say, if you guys are not familiar with Bryce Williams, he was on the Summer League team last year. He was an Exhibit 10 day, spent most of his time with the Motor City Crews, where he shot 42% from three. He was one of their leaders in the G League for the Motor City Crews. His skill is his shot making. When he's hitting his shots, it looks great. When he's not, it's like, man, like what else can you actually do for me? But his skill set is a knockdown 3-point shooter, which there is room for that in the NBA. It just really, you really have to be an elite shot maker if you're not going to provide anything else. But you'll take the 21 points. You'll take the bounce back game from him today. I do apologize if my camera's kind of bugging out. I did mention last podcast episode I was looking into getting a new camera. I definitely need to do that because it looks like this one is taking a crap on me. Isaac Jones, 30 minutes, did not shoot the best from the field, only shot 2 out of 9 from the field, did attempt 2 threes, didn't make either of them, but he was able to get to the free throw line 6 out of 7 times. Or he made 6 out of 7 free throws, excuse me, did have 10 rebounds, 4 offensive, 6 defensive, 3 assists, 1 steal, 16 points, was a +10 in the plus minus. This is a two-way contract. I don't really see him making the roster. This is just a depth piece for the Pistons at power forward. He'll probably spend most of his time in the G League still developing his game. Igana and Yenso, another two-way prospect for the Detroit Pistons, a draft pick this past summer. 2 out of 3 from the field. Made a 3. I was surprised by the 3. Caught me off guard. I was like, is he going to take it? And he took it and he made it. I was like, okay. He finished with, let's see, 5 points in this one, 8 rebounds, 5 blocks, but 4 turnovers. I like the block shots. I thought defensively much better than the first game against Philly. Did a much better job. The turnovers, I want to kind of break down because a lot of the turnovers came so far away from the basket where I think when you watch a lot of the Pistons bigs, like Jalen Duren this past season, Isaiah Stewart, Paul Reed, the Pistons like their bigs to do a lot of these dribble handoffs, and they're passing you gonna these passes so far away from the post, like top of the 3-point line. And a lot of guards and wings have noticed that, so they attack him because they know he's not going to put the ball on the floor. That's not really a skill set, right? And those were a lot of his turnovers. Now, that is something that he's probably going to have to develop because that's something that JB does like his players to do is operate out of DHO sets. So he'll probably develop that quite a bit with the Motor City Crews and the Pistons coaches while he's in Vegas during training camp and with the G League team this year. But you like the rim protection. You'll take the 5 blocks, the 5 points, and the rebounds. But he's a very, very raw prospect that is going to take a lot of developing. But I think the Pistons are pretty patient with what he could possibly be after he kind of just fine tunes a lot of the things that he's doing currently. I think they're fixable. There's like no real red flags. I think mobility wise, lateral quickness, he can get better at that with training. But overall, you'll take the steady game today versus his first game against the 76ers. Chaz Lanier, MVP of this one, 29 minutes, 9 out of 17 from the field, 12 out of 7 from three. Did have 3 rebounds in this one, 3 assists, 1 steal, 25 points, you guys. Insane. Plus 18. Led the whole team in plus minus, by the way. I think when we drafted drafted Chaz in the second round last summer, I think this is what the organization kind of envisioned of him just being a sharpshooter like this. Now, I don't know where Chaz fits in the pecking order. I don't know if he's even going to get rotation minutes this year. And that might sound crazy to say, but if you look at the shooting guard room, you have Duncan Robinson, you traded for Isaiah Joe. Gary Harris actually did an interview during the summer league, so I think a lot of people anticipated he was leaving or getting waived, but he hasn't been waived yet. But the Pistons have until start of the season to make any type of roster changes. Chaz is a second round pick. I don't really know if he cracks the rotation, but it was good to see him have a bounce back game. I think Chaz could possibly have a Marcus Sasser role this year where he's just a depth piece. He won't get a lot of playing time unless there's injuries or garbage time. And it sucks, but the shooting guard room is so damn deep, you guys. It has nothing to do with, the talent that he is. It's just, I don't really see a path for him to actually get a consistent role on this team. But you do like to see him have a bounce back game. Abuka Corey, we'll talk about it. 5 out of 17 from the field, shot 29%, 0 for 2 from 3. By far his worst shooting game in 2 summer league games. And you know what? I think this is good because I fall victim to this a lot is I will overreact to maybe a game. And his debut, he looked great. This was kind of like back to earth with me a little bit. I'm still very high on Abuka Corey. But I think what you saw is Cleveland was able to really protect the rim and the paint. And Abuka had a lot of difficult shots that he was trying to attempt against the Cavs and their bigs and their wings. But he still found a way to impact this game. And you guys can see the box score: 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 7 steals for Abuka Corey. It was one shy of the summer league record, which is 8. I don't think that should go undersold. 7 steals, 6 assists, and you were still able to finish with 14 points. Obviously, shooting 29% is, not a good look, but I think he will have a bounce back game in game 3. I don't think he's going to shoot 29% in his next game, but I think he's starting to see different coverages. Like today, he'll probably watch a lot of film of how he can get better when he's going up against a team that likes to protect the paint and will pack the paint if they see a ball handler like himself try to go and get some easy layups. Steven Crowell played 8 minutes, didn't really do anything. He played some garbage time. Jaden Henley, another Exhibit 10 day. He had a rough game, shot 0 for 6 from the field, did attempt 2 threes, made 2 out of 2 out of his free throws, didn't really do anything either in the box score. Drake Allen, 1 out of 3 from the field, only played 10 minutes in this one. He really didn't do anything. Corey Stevenson, 1 out of the 3 from the field. The bench unit really didn't do anything tonight for the Pistons. The only bench player that actually was impactful was Roddy Gale again. 11 minutes, 4 out of 4 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3. 3 rebounds, 10 points. I'm gonna say this about Roddy Gale, and maybe this is I don't think it's too reckless. I would definitely look to start him if I'm the Pistons because you have 2 summer league games left. If I'm the front office, I want to see a little bit more out of the kid because to me he's very intriguing from the standpoint of all 3 of my 2-way spots are currently not available, but back-to-back games he's been so impactful for the Pistons. So if we just kind of look at the team stats, Pistons won the rebounding battle 55-36. They were dead even with assists with 18 apiece. With Cleveland. Cleveland had 18 steals to the Pistons 13. Cleveland had 8 blocks to the Pistons 7. Pistons had 22 turnovers. You got to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. I know it's summer league, but 22 turnovers is crazy. Cleveland did have 17. They did shoot a better percentage. Cleveland did 45.2 to the Pistons 40.5%. But you look at the 3-point percentage for Detroit, 48.5% from 3. I mean, with Chaz and Bryce are shooting lights out like that, it's absolutely insane. Cleveland only shot 32%. Cleveland did shoot 84.6 from the free throw line to the Pistons 76.2. The free throws are throwing me off too a little bit because of like this G League rule that they're implementing where if you do get fouled, one free throw counts as 2 points. Same with a 3 point attempt. And they only change it for the final 2 minutes of the game, where if you do get fouled, you have to shoot two free throws for two pointers and then three free throws for a 3 pointer. It's something that the G League does to speed up the games. I don't really know if the NBA is going to try to implement this in preseason or like kind of make it a rule. I could see a lot of teams and a lot of organizations not liking that whatsoever. If it's just trying to cut the foul baiting that we do have, I don't really know if teams are going to stop trying to foul bait or sell contact. I just don't see it. But like one shot for two free throws that counts as 2 points. I think it's kind of weird. Like I don't think they should try to change it whatsoever. But I want to talk about Chaz Lanier though a little bit more. Like I know I mentioned I don't know where he could be in the pecking order of things with the Pistons. Like the 25 points was great tonight. It was absolutely great. Like I love the effort that I saw out of him from the 3 point line. I think that's what I want to see for the remainder of these two G League games. I want to see him play the remainder of these two games because I really don't know how much playing time he's going to get this upcoming season. We talked about the shooting guard room. It's really stacked. It's been stacked the past 2 years. I know he's a draft pick from Trajan Langdon that was a second round pick, and I know we haven't had the best luck with second round picks, but if he's able to be a lights out 3 point shooter and provide something off the bench for you, I think he does hold a lot of value off your bench because you still have him under contract for a couple of seasons. But I was really impressed with him. I was impressed with Roddy Gale in the limited time that he did get. I've been impressed with him the past two games. Abuka Corey, I'm not too concerned with because I know he's a very smart basketball player and he was still able to impact the game, even though he shot 5 out of 17 from the field. He was still able to get 6 assists, which was a team high, and 7 steals, which was a team high. He's a good player. I think he will bounce back. I know some of us were very reactionary after game one, saying, like, yeah, like this guy is going to be in the rotation 100%. Doesn't matter if he's a young guy, like JB's going to play him. It's okay to like be excited about a game of how a player does, but um, there's just going to be highs and lows with every post game or every summer league game, training camp game, or even regular season game. I've learned that from doing post game podcasts that you can be very very high off of a victory or off of a loss, or upset after a loss, I should say. But it's better to have a level head. Just kind of like doing these post game podcasts and looking at these players and how to judge what they're doing throughout a season versus just maybe like 1 to 2 games. But really impressed with Chaz. Happy that he was able to bounce back. Be interested to see if he can have a similar type of performance as he did to in the next game. I don't even know when the next game is. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but game 3 should be good. I think that's going to be that'll be the last Amazon Prime game, and then the fourth summer league game is on ESPNU, which I don't even know if I get that channel, but I'll probably just have to find a stream somewhere to find it. But before we do say goodbye to you guys, we have to hear from our sponsors over the FanDuel Sportsbook. And with NBA futures out right now, we have the 2026-2027 NBA Eastern Conference winner odds, with the New York Knicks being the odds-on favorite at a plus 310, followed by the Boston Celtics at a plus 490, laughable. Toronto Raptors at a plus 650, the Detroit Pistons at a plus 750, Cleveland Cavaliers at a plus 800, and the Philadelphia 76ers at a plus 850 for the 2026 Eastern Conference winner odds. Obviously, a lot of these future odds have the Pistons really highly ranked. I think the Pistons are still going to have a good season, which I do too. I know this offseason's been very underwhelming. We talked yesterday about what could be the Pistons' next big move. I still see there being a big move on the horizon. I just don't know what's going to happen. I think the way the contracts are kind of lined up, they're positioned to actually, make a trade or, upgrade the roster how they see fit. But we'll talk to you guys soon. Don't know if we're going to be doing a podcast on Monday, but if we do, it might just be a short little 20-minute one. Appreciate you guys watching these podcasts all week. It is becoming a little bit more difficult to do daily podcasts, but the summer league games are kind of coming in clutch, I will say. But hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. And as always, go Pistons. Peace.